Today is going to be a super casual chat where I imagine that you and I are just finding time to catch up over a good cup of coffee and talk about what's been going on. And just so you know, this video is going to cover a range of rambling and emotion. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog BeComingAFarmGirl.com, and I am a hopeless homestead dreamer. I share ways that you can learn homesteading skills without land or livestock, around a 9 to 5 on evenings, nights, and weekends. Last year, I made a video sharing my goals for this year, and while I succeeded at some, I failed at others. So let me share my wins and lessons, and yes, my hopes for what this year has in store. I have first got to share that this last quarter of the year, it took a nosedive. You always know that one day you're going to take that phone call with news that you don't want to hear. And for me in September, it was the news that my last remaining grandparent, my Nana, had passed away. And it's been really hard emotionally because we were so close. And with everything that's going on in the world, our usual pattern and routine of visiting and seeing one another has just changed. I have to say this, I am at peace that she is now in the presence of our Lord and Savior. But I will miss her because we had such a great relationship. And there's just also something now about the permanency of not having any more grandparents, especially since I lost my other three so young. I'm going to miss the chats that I had with her in her living room, listening to Heaven 600, the wood-burning stove, her love of quality fashion and textiles and materials, and her preservation of books and pictures and trinkets, eating Maryland crabs together almost every time we got together, driving around the eastern shore of Maryland, which is just gorgeous, talking topically about conversations that a lot of people in my actual life, unless you're in my close circle or you all, either just don't want to talk about. And so I have missed her a lot, and I've been very sad. Definitely coming out of it. I'm going through a very natural process of grief, but I got that news and it just froze everything. So while I had so much to share with you, I couldn't. There was just so much with the planning and, my parents coming up and just all of the things. And then I had taken 5 days of bereavement leave off of work and then getting back into the swing of things there. It just, I fell behind on content, and it's actually something that since, the end of September, I haven't been able to stick to what was my weekly kind of weekend posting schedule, and now you know why. And of course, there are components of what I share where I am front-facing the camera, and I just had to get back to a place of feeling and looking like myself, because as I share here, I am sharing my greatest joy, and I want that to be encapsulated in each of my videos. But the good news is that I am in a much better place, and just taking this holiday respite that I've had has been extremely restorative, and it has also enabled me to catch up on some content that I want to share, where I have breathing room to do what I need to do to share with you on a weekly basis. So that's kind of where my posting schedule kind of took a little bit of a dive, but yeah, y'all, that one hit me pretty hard. So this is actually on one of the programs of my Nana. And I actually took this picture of her. It was maybe 3 years ago when my husband and I had made a visit down. And so I took the picture, and she's chuckling at something that Trey, my husband, had just said. But I love this this picture of her. And of course, like, giving her flowers was just something that I just always did, because I mean, you know that saying, and it's so true, to go ahead and give people their flowers while they're alive. All right, now, so I actually wanted to quickly pop in and share that about 2 months before my grandmother passed away, and I think that this was just the Lord preparing my heart, I had thrifted this quilt rack because my dad's mom, so that grandma who passed away when I was in middle school, was a quilter. Now, I will say, and Karen, just all the things, all the things. So my dad would definitely have you to know that these were just quilts that she put together with scraps on end, and probably, oh my goodness, would not even want this to be on a public platform. But this is something that just I still have of hers that is tangible. She made this quilt for me out of my aunts and uncles, just, you know, old shirts and sheets and all of that. And then this is another quilt that she had made for me. And so I just can't have these things tucked away. I have been wanting to display them for so long. And so I finally have those displayed at the top of my kind of staircase here. And then you might think that this is a little weird, but y'all, I'm a very sentimental person. And so it, especially with things that, I don't know, I guess are odd to some, but not to me. This was actually a rose that I had saved from one of the floral arrangements at her funeral. All of those many years ago now, but I still have it. And so after I put up this rack, I had found this at the thrift store. I need to print out a picture of her and put it here. But then these are actually my Nana's one pair of her glasses and her glass case. It actually still smells like her. And this was one of her pins that she used in her hair. Keep it together, Cass, keep it together. And then these were some salt and pepper shakers that she just like kept on her one of her tables. And then I have several of these, but these are some dried flowers also from her floral arrangement that I just tucked up here. So I need to finish completing this. This here on the side. Yeah, so my Nana didn't quilt, but this was a scarf that she crocheted, and I do know the basics of crochet. It's something that I definitely want to get into, but it's just gorgeous. So I have this textile of her hanging here. As a result from that, I completely abandoned my fall garden. Now, I had actually started my fall garden in my green stalks, and I was so excited about sharing that with you, but I just retreated inside of my home. But the one thing that I can say, I'm actually kind of looking at both of them outside here, is that, and I want to show them to you. Again, they are in poor condition, but not really, because I still have lettuces and celery, my rosemary, a number of like frost hardy herbs are still doing really well. And I still love my green stalk garden. So even though I wasn't able to show you my fall garden, please know that it is my goal for next year to take you through that entire process. But I am still very impressed with what has survived, how it's still growing. Speaking of green stalks, they were the #1 reason why I was able to achieve my goal of growing the most amount of food ever. I'm glad that I got curious about growing vertically, because initially I had heard of the green stalks, I mean, it's kind of inevitable if you're in the homesteading community, but I think it was two things. One, my visceral reaction to them was, whoa, oh my goodness, that's like a lot going on. Like, I don't know. I just didn't find it as, I don't know, like appealing as a terracotta pot or, you know, the 5-gallon buckets kind of thing. And two, admittedly, I was unsure, and I just took my time, and that's okay, but now I do kind of regret it. It was, I mean, the green stalks are $120, and so I was just trying to avoid that cost. But one of the things that became crystal clear to me this year with gardening is that by the time you use, especially if you're someone like me that wants to grow like heirlooms and full-size vegetables, or even the hybrid varieties, if you are growing in a container, eventually your plant is going to need support. So you have the one pot. I have so many tomato trellises, you know, for the pepper plants that I was growing in my pots. And then you're going to need netting if you have, you know, voracious squirrels like I do. And so ultimately, it doesn't end up being a cheaper alternative. Plus, plastic has pros and cons, or whatever medium you're growing in. And the upkeep more so just in terms of like chasing the sun and temperature and all that, when you're dealing with so many different pots and have kind of like this growing container garden like I did, I realized that the work that I was putting into my garden really wasn't gardening, right? It was pot management. Whereas when I was dealing with my green stalks, I could just kind of pivot things towards the sun in the morning because I had strategically kind of planted certain things in different areas. It was so easy to water, to just stand in one space and water my garden and to fertilize. And that's where, sorry, I'm kind of like meandering down the road. So that's where permaculture, the more I looked into the intent around design, really makes a lot of sense. And I would have thought, you know, Cass, you're here in a townhouse. Like, why? Like, you know, just wait until you actually have some land to kind of think about that. And I'm staunchly kind of against not even exposing myself to those ideas. And I'm so glad that I did, because that kind of thinking and mindset is something that I need to be cultivating even right now, because my time is still worth something. And if I'm doing things that are inefficient with my time around my homestead even now, that's not helpful for when I do eventually go and have a larger property, because the work will just increase. And looking at the systems and operations that I have here in my backyard balcony garden now has been so key this year, and making me even more excited about purchasing 2 more green stalks. I know I have the plant supports, which I didn't budget for last year, so I didn't have those, and my garden still grew. I mean, y'all saw that. But I'm really excited about this growing season. And then another thing that, you know, my husband had said, he's like, babe, you know, with all these like pots that I had everywhere, he's like, okay, so the plants have a place to sit, but where do the people go? And he was absolutely right. I mean, space here in the city is at a premium. And because I had, you know, pots that were kind of lining the perimeter, 2 and 3 pots deep, you kind of had to do this very choreographed dance around the deck, and it was beginning to be just a bit too much. But I can still grow just as much as I did this year while retaining an outdoor space that I can have people come over comfortably, where I can still enjoy doing just some of my morning movement and stretches outside on my deck. We have a dog that just likes to be outside. It's yeah, so the bright spot this year was definitely that I did meet the goal of growing way more, the most that I ever have. And also that I am claiming my identity as a vertical gardener. And y'all, it's been great. I'm glad that I made the switch. All right, so another goal that I talked about last year, but I wasn't able to share it with you quite yet, I'm almost there, is that I needed to find some type of organizational system for my kitchen cabinets, because y'all, they had started to get out of control. And last year I was talking about how, you know, I do a lot of from scratch cooking, and I'm just curious about different products that I'm hearing about. And so whereas 10 years ago, I just had one type of flour, white flour, I mean, now I have 4 and 5, you know, different types that I'm dealing with. The same with sugars and sweeteners and just all the things. And so my cabinets have kind of gotten away from me. And so I am very excited to announce that I had started to think about the design of my cabinets probably also during the summer. And y'all, I did it. I just haven't tied it together enough to present it in video form. And in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and share with you a sneak peek of one of my cabinets. Y'all have never seen the inside of my cabinets in any video. Well, earlier because they really were a mess. And then I've been waiting to kind of assemble everything together. But I am really excited because it's a system now. And here's what I also wanted to do. I needed to, I mean, this is a real girl over here on this side of the camera. And so I wanted to make sure that whatever I bought, that I actually liked it. And I had some other different ideas in mind at first, but between like cost and just viability, I wanted to make sure that, yeah, I really like this before I share it with you. And what I have now, I've had it for about maybe 4 or 5 months, and it is working out so well if you're still in a kitchen that's a little bit on the smaller side. So let me go ahead and share with you just one of my cabinets, but please know that my full kind of cabinet tour or kitchen cabinet tour is something that I do hope to share with you in the next month or two. All right, so another goal that I desperately needed to do is also about 80% done right now. And that is to build a canning pantry underneath our basement downstairs steps. And y'all, it actually happened. So that was a project that happened, oh my goodness, yeah, about a month before my Nana passed away. And so my dad and my husband finally had a chance to coordinate their schedules. I don't have too much footage of them actually installing the canning pantry. They pretty much put it together when I was at work, but I can just breathe a sigh of relief because part of the organization now that was missing from my kitchen is that I really only need about 2 to 3 weeks worth of like canned good items, or like there's only so much quantity that I need on hand here. But of course, I'm always canning things in bulk, so the reserves just go downstairs. And last fall, I mean, our basement is cool, it's dark, like the temperature's right, but I just had everything clustered on picnic tables, which again was taking up space from our small little basement that we have. But it's almost finished. So I've got to put some final touches before I do my canning pantry tour. And it's still just such a humble space, y'all. It literally is underneath the basement steps. So it's not huge, but you know what? I remember the first night after I had finally like put the jars in there, and there's still some different like kind of things I want to do. I have these little like tags that I want to put on the shelves, and then like get my inventory thing together. Like I really wanted to, I have an idea, and I've been chipping away at it. But just when I was in the space the first night ever, and I have this little fold up chair, and I just sat in the closet steps for like an hour with the flashlight on, and then I took this lamp and kind of tipped it over just so I had a light there. And my heart was so happy, y'all. It was so happy. You know, when I see someone's home can pantry tour here online, my heart is just, oh my goodness, it makes me so happy. Because for some of the canning pantry tours that I've seen, either they have put in the work to grow the majority of their produce, or they might be someone like me that's doing a lot of support from local farmers, or even if you're at the grocery store, which is what I'm also doing, just because, you know, I do what I can do. But the different recipes, the time and attention and work that goes into putting up your own food is just, oh my goodness. I mean, I am not kidding. I know I repeat this in every single video, but it's so true. We've never eaten so well and so healthy, and canning allows me to get a home cooked meal on the table in a way that I just struggled with for years, because you know I work outside of my home, and it's just I couldn't hack it, right? We were in an apartment before this, and so I couldn't do bulk freezer meals, you know, for the entire month. We did crock-pot foods, and yes, that's great too, but again, you have to kind of freeze them. And even now, I would love, and I know that I will eventually have, you know, several large freezers, but since we're not going to be here too much longer, and when you go to sell your house, you know, you got to have certain things looking a certain way, at least around here. So, you know, but I am so happy that I have my canning pantry now. It just keeps me organized. I can see exactly what I have. And, you know, it's just a taste of me living my dream even now. Like, and you can do that, right? Your dream is this journey. And I am not one to think that I will be happy if or when, you know, these things are in place, because life is ever changing. And you know, it's so crazy that I made a video probably 6 months ago, and it was sharing that very sentiment. And you know, I even needed that encouragement and reminder for me personally, just with the passing of my grandmother, where the joy is, it has to be right now for me. And you know what, maybe I'm the kind of person that, while I get so inspired by seeing kind of like these grand implementations of ideas, but you know what? I can take just enough of that inspiration, and if I can tweak it to have a modicum of that replicated in my own life, there's so much joy and fulfillment that you can still get from that, right? So I love watching period and historical dramas on, you know, like MPT. We don't have cable. And the tea time routine is just something I love, the clinking of the teapots and the pouring of tea and all of that. And you know what? I have my own little tea routine. It follows the rules enough, but it gives me so much satisfaction. The same with my canning pantry. It's not super big. I mean, actually, let me give myself some credit. I probably have about 550 jars right now, not all filled. And my parents, I do a lot of canning for them too. But you know what? I still love it. The joy of cracking something that I have made, you know, when I go to prepare a meal, or just like the look on other people's faces when they taste it. That just makes my heart sing. Or, you know, my densely packed green stalks, right? Where if I need to season something, I can just walk outside, clip it off, put it in my meal. You know, even in tiny little ways, as I fold these ways of doing and being and living, it just gives me so much joy, so much joy. And maybe one day it will build out into something more, and maybe it won't, but I am still experiencing a deep sense of satisfaction from that. So I don't know where I was going. I was obviously rambling with that. Let me get my notes and see what I need to talk about next. Okay, canning closet. Oh, quail. So actually, about a year and a half ago, one of the farm girls here on the channel shared that I should look into getting quail as a substitute, since I can't have chickens because of the HOA that I have here. And so it's been an uphill battle this past year with, one, I had to go through the process of kind of revising some of our HOA laws in order for me to even consider like having quail or keeping quail here on my property, because I would in fact want to keep my quail outdoors. I know that you can do it inside, but I want to have the option of having them outside legally. So over the course of about 6 months of the petitioning process, I was finally approved to keep 3 quail. And I know that that doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm using my quail just for their egg production. I wouldn't be against learning also how to dispatch them at home, but it's mainly, again, to supplement or have a source of like eggs just here on my property. And so, yeah, like that was the first part of the lift. All right, so I was feeling really good about that, but one of the things that I want to do, especially with, I mean, livestock that aren't, you know, my basement worms, is to make sure that I have actual experience, almost like an apprenticeship, before I dive into like either large purchases financially or acquiring and caring for livestock. And so I was trying to coordinate with a distributor from a contact that I found out at my farmer's market to help with a quail production operation, just so I would have like actual experience. Y'all, I mean, to this day, I've never even touched a live quail. And even though I feel really confident from the books that I've read and the YouTube videos that I'm watching, I don't think that that will substitute having actual experience. And I mean, maybe I was a little naive last year, but I was forecasting, and it's just hard to do that in the time that we're living in. And I had also shared that there were a number of classes that I would want to take and how I couldn't do virtual. I just can't, right? And I don't think it substitutes for having that real in-person experience, but a lot of those options that were posted as going to be available, you know, were either canceled or postponed, and so I haven't been able to do any in-person classes, or they're just like reducing their numbers, and I can't make the classes that are during the day, during the week, and so I did have some other goals that were related specifically to taking classes. Anyways, I say all that to say, the person that I thought that I was going to be working with ended up closing their quail operation. And so right now I am looking at, because I would ideally want to have my quail this summer, I am looking at just kind of networking and seeing who I can find that's, you know, relatively close to me to kind of take me under their wings and show me like the entire process. I am willing to volunteer, like absolutely. But I want to have that settled and in place first before I bring quail onto my property, just to make sure that I am caring for them in the best possible way. Let's say that I need to go out of town unexpectedly for a couple of days. It's really important to think about creating a network and an infrastructure here of people that could care for my quail. And that's not a lot of folks that I personally know right now. So I need to continue to strengthen my own networks. There is a local homesteaders, what were they? I think it's a meetup. Yeah, I think the network is called, it's a meetup, but they actually weren't meeting up. Again, it was virtual. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about some of the projects that I am excited about for the year ahead. And the first that I will most likely dive into in the fall, during the winter, well, it really depends, but definitely starting this summer, is I want to start intentionally making and using my own apothecary. And of course, just to like throw out some of the big names, I already have several books by Rosemary Gladstar. I follow Amy Fuel, which, oh, I'm so excited, she's pregnant. And Carolyn Thompson from Homesteading Family. And I have an abundance of amber bottles that I actually need to go ahead and either throw away some of my tinctures, but I really want to get into that just for kind of to have my own herbal remedy first aid kit for things where I don't immediately need to take a commercial medicine for. And certainly I am not against it. I think that they can work in partnership, but there is more of an active ownership that I want to take. There are a number of medicinal teas that I drink on the regular. Now, they don't taste the best, but they are, there's a phrase that I like to actually share with my dad. There are two reasons why you eat: for taste and nutrition. And so I've already seen just such an improvement in kind of the different powder blends that I use and medicinal teas, but I want to be more intentional about building my own apothecary, especially since I have my canning closet and I have a space just to keep some of that inventory. So I'm really excited to see what I can do and make for this year. So you'll see some videos about that. I also want to get into sprouts just because they're so simple. They're so simple. I'm kind of landing on the equipment that I want to use or not. Again, it's pretty low prep. And what I usually like to do is start off with maybe like the guide and then take liberties after I know kind of what I should be looking for, if things are going well or not. But sprouts are just so nutritious, but so expensive if you know, buy them at the store. And so I think that that's a really easy project that I could get into. Plus there are so many different sprouts variations. And so they're just a great way to add meal and change or add flavor to a meal. And then just to change up like the taste and texture. So that is a project that I could easily see myself starting to get into. Definitely just building my capacity with vertical gardening and seeing what I can grow. I will be doing my garden, what I plan to plant here coming up probably in February, maybe early March. And I'm thinking about just even changing some of the seed brands that I've used. Now, typically, just because of cost, I only stick to one vendor per year because, you know, shipping and handling can just, it's yikes if you're not going in, you know, on someone with your seeds. I definitely want to veer into more of the hybrid varieties, so we'll see. But I cannot wait for this new vertical garden growing season that's coming up. Oh, here's something I'm really excited about. I have to try it. I have to. Steam canning. Steam canning. So I have shared, and pressure canning. Hold on, let me not get ahead of myself. So steam canning is now, I think probably for a couple of years, it's been approved by the National Center for Home Food Preservation as a safe method of preserving your food. It's an alternative to water bath canning, and the main kind of benefit is that it's faster, right? So the drawback with doing water bath canning, that sounds weird, there's no drawback to doing it, is that it does take a while for you to heat up, you know, a large pot of water. But with steam canning, I mean, you don't have that. So I would love to do that because y'all, now that I am producing, I'm canning all of the things. And it's so exciting to see how my kitchen has changed because do I still have canned foods? Yes, like as a backup, you know, as a part of like our stockpile. But it's few and far between. I'm canning my own beans and soups, like all the things, all of it. And so I am really just looking at my efficiency because not only am I canning for our household, but again, my parents just love my canning foods. And I love sharing it with them. My dad, you know, built my canning pantry. They send me jars just all of the time. And so, I mean, it's just, yeah, I need to increase my my operations, and so stay tuned for that. So I'll probably do like my initial reactions to steam canning, and then I may even in my videos share like if you're going to water bath, do it this way. If you're going to steam can it, do it this way. So let me know how many of you all are steam canning and what you have enjoyed about that process, and then what steam canner you're even using. Next up is pressure canning too. So I haven't shared a lot of pressure canning videos, only because I guess for me, my pressure canning ingredients are more of like just basic ingredients, right? It's beans or soup or, you know, that kind of thing. And I think that there's already a lot of great content around that. And for me, I've just been smitten with kind of like your high acid recipes because I still need to do my what I will and will not can video. That's coming too. But I really, because I used to be just strictly an ingredient canner and I would never be canning these jams and jellies and conserves and all the things. But once I started to really realize, hold on, this can work here or there, or I can have it like this. Oh my goodness. I mean, y'all see in my videos just how I'm able to make these creations that taste amazing. And a lot of those recipes are water bath canning recipes, but I do want to slide into sharing some pressure canning videos because I do some things that you can take certain liberties when you're pressure canning. Like, I think it's more of the process when I pressure can. So even when I'm doing beans, right, I will have several different kind of broths that are already there that are flavored this way or that way, or I'll have different kind of like herbs that I'll kind of tweak. And so yeah, expect some pressure canning videos as well. So another one of my goals that I am trying to improve in is my sustainability. And I have already done a number of things. As I've shared previously, the majority of the items in our home are from, you know, the thrift store. I mean, furniture, curtains, kitchen equipment that I've shared. It's just, it is. It's such a practical way to shop. It's economical, and you can just find quality items that really allow you to punch above your pay grade. But one of the things that I've really kind of been looking into, even with my clothing, all of my clothing is from the thrift store, unless it is from a vendor that I have a connection with. So either it's like a local artist or a kind of clothing vendor, or, oh, like last year, I got this beautiful shawl from this woman at a craft fair. And I mean, you could just tell, like, that is a piece that no one else will have. And the work and care that she put into that, it's just, oh, so gorgeous. So, you know, I will spend more for items like that, or things like my Roots and Refuge t-shirt. Again, like supporting people and causes that I really truly care about. But outside of that, oh my goodness, there's so many just thrift stores around that I find excellent clothing for work, where I'm a bit more dressy, and then just everyday like quality items that you see me wearing here on the weekends or when I'm at home. But one of the things that I'm looking at now is not just is the material of items that I'm purchasing. And so I have been able to, my goal is to transition more of my clothes towards a sustainable fabric. So even when I'm at the thrift store, and one of the fabrics that I have really been getting into just this past summer, just for, you know, practical purposes, is linen. And oh my goodness, I have fallen down the rabbit hole of reasons to wear linen. I mean, it's one of the oldest textile fabrics that's mentioned in the Bible, and there are just so many fascinating reasons to wear it. One, it's stronger than cotton, it's antimicrobial. There are even things around, so when you think about like vibrationally with like atoms and different kind of things that this one, well actually several different videos that I was watching was sharing, was that linen actually is a fabric that has like a higher vibration for when you wear it. There are different healing properties that come along with wearing linen. Actually, this is a linen shirt that I also picked up. But anyways, I've been able to find, it is expensive if you're buying it new, but if you are able to just take a peek in your thrift store, and that's, you know, just what I do. I'm at the thrift store all the time. However, I am one of those thrifters that knows how to walk in, and if I don't find anything, I walk back out. But you gotta go. You gotta go because you never know what you're gonna find. But I've been able to find 100% linen, Irish linen from brands that, I mean, I know are great. And I probably now have a collection of maybe close to 10 linen shirts. And I have loved wearing the fabric. Not only does it just feel so luxurious, but it does help to keep you kind of cooler in the summertime. It regulates your body temperature during the winter time, and it doesn't kind of break down, or it breaks down naturally, right? And so I just, yeah, I want to move towards more sustainable fabrics. And then also the same goes with wearing wool. Now this is something again that my grandmother was into, and she had, actually I now have a number of her nice sweaters, about 3 of them that are just gorgeous. I'll almost be scared to wear them though, because I will wear them occasionally, but I do want to have some items that I'm able to, you know, wear more routinely. Wool is just also another wonderful fabric to wear and to have on hand. Again, it's super sustainable. It keeps you warm. These are items that just have a lifespan where if you take care of them, they will last you, I mean, for years, like a lifetime. And so, yeah, I actually just picked up this gorgeous, hold on, let me get it. Ah, I knew that I wanted to share this with you. So, oh my goodness. This is gorgeous, you all. Okay, I would never be shopping like at this place. Expensive, yes, I know they have quality items, but, and this was half off the green tag, so $9.99. Oh my goodness, do you see? Like, again, I'm not a fashionista, but I feel like I know nice stuff. Like this double collar here, and I just love it. It's a great basic, gorgeous like buttons that are here. It has like the ribbing that's here, and you know, it has some little pockets there. You can dress this up or down. Oh, it's so cozy. So yes, I will need to go ahead and hand wash that or cold wash it on the delicate cycle, along with, I picked up something else when I was at the thrift store. But yeah, I'm just really excited about thinking about clothes that I can just wear and keep, as I mostly do, but just more sustainable fabrics. And speaking of sustainability, one of the things that I also want to really push myself at doing, which I'm doing in my own way, is to, so ultimately, one of the things that maybe I haven't explicitly talked about before, that I will find a way to kind of maybe share this sentiment more and more as I complete these projects, is I am on this journey partially because I do agree with and want to become more self-sufficient, but my goal is not to be self-sufficient. My goal is to have community, it's to be a part of community sufficiency. And I say that because we are not meant as a species to do anything alone or all by ourselves. We were meant to be in these kind of healthy, codependent relationships where the work that we do with our hands, or we can share it with others. And so I've even thought about, when I think about my homesteading kind of profile. And of course, one of my kind of strengths and loves would be with canning and food preservation. And I know that that is not, even as homesteaders, I am kind of picking up on different channels, that's not maybe everyone's niche as much. Maybe for them, it's more on like the gardening side or I don't know, like the sewing side or just different things like that. And I think that that's okay. And I want to make sure, and it's taken me some time, y'all. It's taken me some time because, I've got a budget for, shopping more so at the farmer's market, because for a while I was also building up my canning inventory supplies, which was also coming from our food budget because we weren't spending more. I had to, make with kind of what we have. But I say all that to say that there are certain projects that right now I'm like, oh, do I want to learn how to do this and that and that and that? And eventually, yes, I do, just to know that I can do it. But for right now, I feel really good that I have some partnerships this year with companies that are either like local people that I know that are producing wonderful materials, and I love supporting them. There is a local soap maker, and oh my goodness, I have extremely dry skin. Like y'all, I am a crocodile. I just have to put on raw shea butter to keep my hands and body moisturized. And for a long, long, long time, I had a very difficult time even finding soaps that would keep my skin just moisturized and didn't like irritate my skin. But I have, well, maybe it's actually now going on 3 years, have found a local soap maker, and her products are just, they are amazing. And I was a person that went through so many other brands, even from small businesses, just to even find her. Something wouldn't work. Okay, what's next? Let me try this, let me try that. And I have stuck with her for the past 3 years, and oh my goodness, I love the fact that I am able to support her business with something that she just knows so well, to the point where I'm not even, I'm curious to be able to make my own soaps, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to take away from being able to, with something that I am going to need to purchase anyway, to partner with her. And now, she's able to have her soap business full time, as she should, because her products are just amazing. And I think that that's really, really important. And when I think about, that's another thing, but I'm really excited about that in terms of creating community self-sufficiency. Another thing is being able to source my my own milk from local farms. So I want to go ahead and start to make that transition this year. Another thing is I have finally, this is actually my goal before, well, the winter of 2020, was to start sourcing a portion of my meat from a local farm. But then it's been impossible for the past almost 2 years to even get on a waiting list. Well, I finally have been able to, so you will see some of that information coming here shortly, but it's been so nice. Again, overtime. I have not done any of this overnight. And you know what? There's no need to. Do what you can, and the feedback that you get from taking those small steps really does encourage you to kind of proceed and take the next step and the next step. In fact, my kind of word or phrase for this year is just to trust my pace and my process. I have these goals and I don't know what this year is going to hold in store for me, right? And so even as I make these goals, to encourage and connect with other homestead dreamers where things like this are on your mind, I know that even if I veer off course or if something, or if a new, kind of thing comes its way, I want to remain open enough to trust my pace and this process. All right, friends, I also have just a few other things that I wanted to share, and that is, it's January, so now would be the perfect time that if you have any feedback for me in terms of on videos that I've done before, kind of like what you like or what would like to see more of or maybe less of, definitely let me know, because it would give me an opportunity to kind of be thinking ahead of this when I go to just share content with you all. I do want to say that overall, even though I veered off on some of my goals, I was successful more so in some and not others. But y'all, I've got to say that this year was still a win. It was still a win because one of the goals that I didn't even have, even when I was speaking with you last year, and this year I'm very excited, is that here I am, getting emotional again, is I really appreciate you for watching my videos, for commenting, because let me tell you this, I thought I was just a little nuts, and I am. I wear that badge proudly. I'm a little different, right? And that's okay. But I remember when I had shared with my family, I said, you know what, I think I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and I'm just going to share how I'm turning my townhouse into a homestead. And by now, my family, I mean, they're just, they really are the best. They're super supportive. It wasn't out of the blue, right? Because they've been seeing this evolution before I kind of put a name to things. And they're like, cool, Cass. All right, like, could do it. And I really needed to, because you can kind of feel a little insane and a little crazy, and if you don't understand, unless someone truly knows me, it's hard to kind of share with others. Oh, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going to be canning and preserving these items, or dehydrating this, or taking a course on that, without getting a look. The looks don't bother me, but it's still nice to be seen and to be heard. And I just had this nagging suspicion that I am not the only person that is homestead dreaming, that is doing these things like in her house, right? Externally, I know that it looks like I am far removed from my farm. But I'm telling y'all, I have this mindset that once I'm finally in my home, how do I make it such that even if I'm bringing in, produce from the farmer's market or from the grocery store, I'm pretending that I have kind of processed it, and now that it's in my home, like, how would a homesteader, how am I living, this lifestyle with what I have? And I just want to share that it's been encouraging, and I do not take your comments lightly, your feedback, your tips and recommendation. I'm not on here trying to be an expert, which is why I share, the recipes that I'm sourcing, where they're from, or books that I'm reading with you all. I want to be very transparent with that, always, and to learn from you, as I have, and I appreciate it. But it has been so great to connect with you all in this way. It's been really encouraging. I got an email, and that person knows who they are, that was just so heartfelt on a day that I had a really just tough day. And it's so great because you all are real people just like me. And when someone had said, hey, Cassandra, are you gonna do another an update on your yearly goals? At first I was like, initially I'm like, I don't know, like, should I maybe? And then I thought, you know what, of course, if this person is asking, and I can certainly do that, and that you even care enough, because this kind of video are not the videos that I am routinely making. just appreciate it. I appreciate it that there are other folks that are becoming farm girls and grafting themselves into this life and have been on a journey where you are ahead of me, or maybe I'm a few steps ahead of you, but there is still a very real community that we are creating. And I appreciate your patience with me. I appreciate your patience with me over these last couple of months. I appreciate your patience with me as I still learn to like navigate Instagram. I never even had an Instagram account before this. And you know what? I'm gonna keep it casual, you know, as I tend to do, because I think that there still is a beauty in how we take the cards that we have and turn it into a life that is meaningful. So y'all, that is my update for this upcoming year 2022. And thank you for hanging in here with me on this video. I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care. Or you slept the entire video? The entire video? And you're not done yet?